Okay, I was told I had a 40% chance of learning a foreign language. Today I stand before you as the International Coordinator of Culture and Language Acquisition for ETHNOS360. We work in over 30 countries, and I help people learn culture and language. And like Brother Bill was sharing with me yesterday, I think God uses difficulty to prepare us to be able to share with others. And this morning, during this hour, I want to share a project with you that for the last 5 years we've been working on. And the project's called Stages, and I'm going to explain all that in a minute. But as followers of Christ, we want to be obedient to the Great Commission that He's given us to take His gospel around the world. And for ETHNOS360, our focus, every organization, mission organization, has different focuses, but for us, ours are unreached. Ethnic groups that have never had an opportunity to hear the gospel, those are the people that we look for. We survey and seek to communicate God's Word clearly in the language and the culture, couched in culture. And many of these are actually in areas where it's restricted for missionaries to get in. But Stages is an intuitive cross-platform app. It'll work on iPhones and Androids, and it's going to change everything for thousands of ethnic groups, because it's going to give the ability for people like you, like me, to be able to learn a culture and a language that maybe we don't know yet. So how are these people going to hear? Well, many of them will never hear through radio or TV or some kind of brochure, because a lot of these folks have never learned to read. I see you and I, we have a hard time understanding that, but I could take you into areas of the world where on one street corner, you could see somewhere around 3,000 or 4,000 people, and probably not 2 out of that whole group know how to read. And so it takes life on life. Those 2 ladies I showed you that are now my part of my clan, those ladies would never hear the gospel unless somebody moved in, built a relationship with them, learned their culture, and then learned their language. Well, that's the only way they're going to learn. And this app is designed for guys like this, this guy's a pastor now. This is a former witch doctor. It was the coolest thing. His daughter, he didn't know how to read. His daughter didn't know how to read. And he heard that we had a training program. That was that training program I was telling you about. He sent her there to go find out what was going on, because he had heard through the grapevine that we were bringing in some kind of message. And she went and she came back and she said, "Dad, this is really important." That gal in 1 year learned to read and read through the whole New Testament in the year that she was in training. Just consuming the Word. Well, the idea of Stages is to help guys that are actually, like in Vietnam and in China, who are, maybe some of them are already in ministry, but they want to reach out to these unreached ethnic groups. Well, believe it or not, they have the same difficulty you and I would have in trying to learn their language. And so we've been working on this app to go in and reach unreached people groups. Most of the areas where in Asia particularly that are unreached are considered either limited access, restricted access, or just closed to people like you and me moving in and sharing the gospel. And so by helping national pastors and workers be able to learn their languages, they can use Stages to go into some of these areas of the world where the gospel has never been. And this is mapped here just Those dark areas show you where the most unreached people groups are. If you're familiar with the Joshua Project, this is theirs. Now you'll notice that even in the U.S., throughout Europe, there are some of those little red dots. Well, those are migrations of people that move from Sudan. We actually have over in Georgia, our mission is actually doing some training of our new missionaries in Georgia because there are ethnic groups over there. Most of them don't even speak English. They just became in as immigrants, and they congregate all in one area. I can't remember the name of the town, but just thousands of them. And so we actually are doing some of the on-the-ground learning here before they actually go overseas. But anyway, we want to help folks learn language. Well, I want to kind of describe to you what language learning is all about. Now, I would normally click through these, so you can go ahead and start clicking as I talk. We break language learning down into 4 stages. Now, the first stage is just, it's called basic, where you learn just comprehending words. And there's actually a process that we use in trying to learn a language. And believe it or not, the first 6 weeks, you don't write a single thing down. You do not repeat a single word. And the reason is your mind and your ears have to teach your muscles how to produce sounds so that they are authentic, so that they're natural. You've probably heard people from other areas of the world who learn English, and they still sound like they're from Korea or from China or even from the Philippines, but they speak English. It's just, you kind of have to really work to figure out what they're trying to say. Well, in stage 1, we're trying to warm our minds and our ears up. This app helps you do that. The second stage is progressing, and that's talking in sentence level speech. Unfortunately, my experience as a consultant in helping people learn culture and language, most people, even missionaries, reach sentence level and they plateau and they do not continue to progress. They can talk all day long in sentences. They just string sentences together. They've not learned how to group them together in cohesive paragraph thoughts and then connect those with discourse features that take them down so that they can actually begin to explain things. You want to explain the Trinity. You want to explain God's holiness. You can't just have sentences that are just kind of strung together. You have to be able to shape, and this is in the third, stage 3, is longer stories in conversation where you're actually able to connect all the stories together. We call that capable. Then the last stage is the stage that's really what required for a Bible teacher to open the Word of God and teach people so that whenever you tell them that God loves them, they actually understand what that means. We used, for the first few years we were in the tribe, we used the word irug. Irug means love, but it's like, I love my dog. In Tugbanwa, that irug is more, I love you for what I can get out of you. Whenever we had believers and they understood God's love isn't this way. God is a giving God. He doesn't love us just so He can get us, so He can make us do something. He wants us to worship Him. Well, whenever they realize that, they go, oh, we got another word. He said, we don't ever use it because nobody really loves that way. Our love is always because we want something. And it's raras. For God so raras the world. And see, you don't learn that in light surface type language and culture. Well, this, you can go ahead and fill that. This is a wheel. There are a bunch of areas that stages this app will help missionaries like you would not believe. We waste so much time trying to learn language and trying to do things that are way beyond our ability. Well, Stages, the app Stages has a plan that's built into it so that when you turn it on, it tells you, okay, this week, this is what you should be doing. You should be doing these types of cultural activities so that you can experience firsthand what's going on culturally, and then you are able to video it and to record it, and I'll share that a little bit in a minute. But so it's got a planner. It tells you what you should be doing. It's got a pre-process. In other words, if you're in stage 1, it will not allow you to go do activities that are in stage 2. And this is what saves so much time. We're talking about probably saving anywhere from 2 to 3 years of culture, language, study, and we are taking missionaries to a deeper level of understanding and ability to communicate than we've taken any of our missionaries before. Whenever you actually schedule these activities of going out and doing things, it puts it on a to-do list. If you have malaria and you're out for a couple of days, next time you open your app up again, it tells you right where you were, what you should be doing, so that you don't get lost. And for me, I had malaria 39 times, and it usually wipes you out for a long period of time. When I finally would get well enough to go back to start working again on the language and culture, I always would go back to what I like to do. I love people, so I'm always out there with them, and I was not understanding the grammar, wasn't understanding how different aspects worked. This doesn't allow that. It tells you right where you were, what you were doing, what you need to be doing, and keeps progressing you through there. Then when you go out, it assists you in executing the plan that you've actually put together. The recorder is incredible. You can take, where's my phone? That's okay. Oh, it's right here. You can take your phone, and that's actually what it looks like. Say you're my language helper, and I'm interviewing him. He's telling me about hunting wild hogs. I mean, we had a lot of stories last night about hogs. And so I have one of those buttons is an audio recorder. So I'm recording it, and this is probably in stage 2 or 3. And so Brother Bill, he tells me all these different stories, and he starts illustrating. He's going, and then he showed me last night, he was going to shoot this wild hog. So he starts acting something out, so I hit another button, and it turns the video on. It doesn't interrupt the audio. And then he pulls out his gun. He goes, and this was the gun I used, and so I take a picture of it. Well, all of that is captured in this app. When I go home, go to the next slide. I go home, all I do is QR code this to my computer. It downloads the audio, all the photos, puts each one of them in their proper place, the videos, and then puts a note, this needs processing. You need to go through this and break it down. So it takes so much of the work. Now, for you young people, you love your phones. You love spending time on your phones, and your face is like this all the time. You're walking into stuff. What we're taking technology, and we're trying to take FaceTime away from devices, away from the computer and away from your phone, so that all of this playing around with it to get it to do what you want it to do is all programmed into it. So it knows what to do with all that information that you captured when you were out in the cultural context. One of the most powerful aspects of this tool is the dual recorder. Now, after you've gone through stages maybe 2 and into the middle of stage 3, you can talk about a lot of things, and you've got a lot of capacity and ability. But how natural is it? Well, the dual recorder, it has actually 2 different tracks for recording. So what I do is I have Brother Bill tell me that story, about the hogs, the hog hunting. I capture it, maybe a little video. If you look at the one on the right-hand side, that the blue bar is that audio recording that shoots across there. And every time you see that little box, that's a photo. And let's see. There's also, I don't think there's a video in that one. But anyway, it shows you where you are. If you get like a 15-minute text, it is really hard trying to find specifics in there. This thing here allows you to just drop it, a marker in there on that timeline. Go back to the other slide. I'm not finished quite yet with the dual recorder. So I record Brother Bill the first time with one recording. Then I go home, QR code it to my computer, and I start looking at it. I transcribe it. Yeah, you can go to the next slide now. I transcribe it, and that would be, say, on the left one. That's Brother Bill's. He tells the story. Then I look at, okay, I don't understand this word. I'm not sure what he's talking about here. So I get together with him later on, after I've spent some time looking at it, and I ask him questions, and he explains those things to me. And then I go, okay, I'm going to tell your story back to you, and that's where the second recorder comes in. I tell the second story as if I was Brother Bill. Well, then when you transcribe those two stories, those are the two columns on the left and then the middle column. And then you start looking at them, and the color coding is where you start tagging pronouns and articles and verbs, and you start comparing. Now, if you were to look at this real closely, and this is real true in a lot of languages, if I'm talking to you and telling you a story, I'll tell you, Bill did this, and then he did this, and after that he did that, and we use pronouns. Well, there are a lot of languages that if you quit using Bill's name, they get lost. They don't know who you're talking about. And so that's the difference. It's not like your language is wrong. It's not natural. And when language is not natural, I stood up and spoke this morning for 45 minutes to you. I've listened to pastors from other parts of the world. After 5 minutes, I am tuckered out. My mind is having to rearrange the grammar. They're using all English words. There's probably got some pronouns and nouns or some vowels that are not pure, and they don't. But our minds can adjust to that. But after a while, we wear our hearers out. We don't want miscommunication to take place because we're not speaking in natural speech for them. This one feature is absolutely amazing. It will make our Bible translation so much clearer because you have the ability to compare. If you look through here, Randy shows up one time in the left column, and it shows up 3 times in the others. Well, the difference is that person felt like they had to keep repeating it. The other one only used it once. So anyway, those are the kind of things that the dual recorder will do. Just absolutely amazing. Okay? Another feature that is just phenomenal is culture. Now we have, for years, missionaries have used an anthropological tool that has 886 subcategories. We've broken them down into 20. We've taken the complexity out of that. And when you go through a text and you start identifying different aspects, it's a little hard to read there, but you take kinship and then self-identity. For example, here in America, is it important who all of your forefathers were? Well, many of us can't even remember. We don't even know who our great-grandparents were. Well, you go to Tugbanwa land, you are nobody unless you're connected to a clan. That's why I was adopted into a clan. The chief that actually invited me to move into his village, he declared, from this day on, you will be called Dongo, which means eldest son. And the reason is, he told the people, he said, he has left his family in Manila. Now, their world is as big as Manila. Couldn't figure out America or another country. And it is not right for him and his family to be here and not have family. And so from now on, well, when my dad comes to the house and you got to know the language. He goes, well, son, do we have any rice together? Any rice today? Well, he's using a pronoun that is me and him and nobody else. Do we have rice? Well, culturally, if we have enough rice in the house for today, I can say, no, we don't have rice. We being together. If I have enough for today and tomorrow, I have to use a different pronoun and say, yes, we all have rice. Because I'm in his clan and I'm obligated to share. Well, it works both ways. I had a grass roof. A typhoon came through. It took the grass, inverted it, and his roof was leaking like a sieve. And so I go to my dad and I say, Dad, our roof is leaking. Because he's in my clan and that roof is ours together. Then he goes, well, your siblings, which is as your brothers, will help you fix it. See, that's how learning culturally, how those interact and intersect. So, in missiology, we speak of culture and language this way. Language is only expressing culture. Language is just words, but they are meaningless words without a cultural context. Let me illustrate that. A lady comes to our house 3, 4, 5 months after we'd moved into the tribe. Remember, everybody has a porch. She knocks on the door, and the way they knock is as soon as you enter the clearing of a house, that's part of your house. So if somebody walks into your clearing without declaring their presence, it's like they're walking in your front door, even though they're outside. So she walks to the clearing and she... So I look out. It's like 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning. We're having breakfast. I stick my head out the door and I say, oh, come on up. You never invite somebody to come in. You ask them to come up. If I were to say, come in, that's an inappropriate invitation. So I say, come on up. And being new and not knowing anything, I said, well, what do you need? Oh, nothing. I don't need anything. I just dropped by for a visit. I said, well, have a seat. She had her little baby with her, probably maybe about 10 months old. I said, have a seat. We'll finish breakfast and then I'll be back out. Well, that was culturally inappropriate too. I should have offered breakfast and I should have offered it 3 times so that she knew I really meant we wanted to share it with her. See, we're so dumb because we don't understand what's going on. Well, 15 minutes later, I come out, I sit down on the porch. We do this hours every day. Sit down on the porch. And I said, well, how's it going? And we just start chit-chatting. About 15, 20 minutes later, her brother comes, and I can tell he's kind of in a hurry and anxious. And he stands actually on the ground, and finally he goes, she has a need. And I go, oh, I asked her, and she said she didn't need anything. She just came for a visit. She said, well, my baby drank some kerosene earlier, and I was wondering if you could treat it. Guys, you have no idea the control that culture has. It is so inappropriate to come to someone's house and declare your need. It's my responsibility as host to figure out why you're there. Ladies would come to the porch. These were in the early days. And they would say, well, where's Barbara? And I'd say, honey, too young. She's out here. We'd like to talk to you. So she comes out, sits down. She's trying to get ready to start school with the boys. This lady will spend 45 minutes asking, well, what'd y'all have for breakfast? I mean, and we're going, okay. You know what she really wanted? We drank Nido milk from a pop-on lid can that you could close. And she was wondering if we had emptied a can because they put their pounded rice in that, and it keeps the rats out. Well, that's our responsibility to figure that out. You don't understand that until you have understood the culture to the place where now you speak to their hearts. Guys, this app will help missionaries to be able to do that. So, who needs to use this? And man, I'll tell you right now, over 3,000 people, if we put it into their hands, that's in our world, in ETHNOS360 or New Tribes Missions world. Right now, about 3,000 people around the world. So we got over 70 culture language acquisition consultants. It would help them immensely. One of the features of this app is it is backed up in the cloud, and where it's backed up is connected to the consultants. Getting consultants into some of these remote areas is very difficult, very challenging. And so being able to, it costs money, but it's time. The number of consultants with the number of learners that we have out there. With backing it up like that, it's almost real time. Consultants can see exactly what missionaries are focusing on, where they're spending their time. It will help them be able to help learners. They hit a wall and they don't know where to go or what to do next. And the fact that the consultant has direct access is incredible. We've got training programs all over the world, both like in target countries like Venezuela and Bolivia. They have training programs there. Those that are in training will use it. We've actually started an online program in restricted countries that the second week of August, we're actually doing videos of teaching these principles so that in English, so that pastors and evangelists and people in these countries can learn and then teach their own people we call it languages of wider communication. That would be in Vietnamese or Mandarin or Indonesian. So as soon as this app is completed, Lord willing, by the end of the year, our team will take it out and we'll start traveling around the country, around the world, and if COVID will allow us, because we can't get into some countries right now because of COVID. But one of the benefits also is it will change financially the amount that supporting churches and individuals that are helping missionaries. If you start looking at this, the blue line up there in the top, blue boxes, it will reduce by about 3 months the amount of training that it takes to train our folks before they're ever sent out. It will reduce about 9 months into E2. E1 is called equipping, so that's in your home country. E2 is in the national context, so going to the Philippines, we had to spend a year plus, a little over a year, learning Filipino or Tagalog. And it'll save somewhere around 6, maybe 8 months of that, because now most of those languages take about 2 years to learn. Then when you move into the tribe, you're looking at saving another 2, possibly 2 years or a little bit more. So it saves time. Well, when you put that down in finances, that's 3 months less here and 6 months or 8 months less there, that you're supporting a missionary who's still just learning language. He hadn't even started ministry yet because he's still trying to learn culture and language. Well, in the end, we figured a team of 3 families, that's what we put together. We usually have a primary evangelist, a primary church planner, and a person who helps kind of fill all the gaps, like the airstrip and supplies and projects like maybe you have a well drilling project around the tribe. He would be responsible for the community development aspect of it. You take 3 families and spread those guys out over a period of their pre-field training, their national training, and then their preparation in the tribe or in their target language where they're going to actually minister to unreached people groups. And you add that up, you're looking at about $300,000 that's saved with one team. That's why I can't tell you how incredibly important this is. It's speed of getting the gospel out, and it's being good stewards of the finances that God's providing. There are, you can go to the next slide. There are 7 phases, and God has supplied amazingly, it's incredible. He's supplied over $500,000 for this 5-year project of developing. We're in phase 5, which probably next week or the week after, phase 5 will be complete. We'll only have 2 more development phases. And all of those have been paid for. God has supplied except for the last one. We're $75,600 short. And that's what we're trusting God to provide. That was part of my responsibility, was trying to share this. That's the reason why I'm here sharing with you guys, is sharing this need, and God is raising up people all over the world. I had somebody call me from Canada. We hear about this project. We're just wondering, tell us about it. We might be able to help you out. They paid for one whole thing. It was $75,000. It was a guy in a foundation up there. Well, what we envision is every people group in the world would become true worshipers of God. We desire to see God raise up a thriving, beautiful representation of the body of Christ in their cultural context, in their language group. And it's incredibly exciting to see God transform an ethnic group like the Tugbanwas and bring them into His family, and just, you cannot imagine. Used to, no matter where you went, there were all the telltale signs of witch doctors and all of their stuff. You walk down a trail and you see stakes and stuff that have been put on that trail to protect people who were going to walk there. I can't tell you the indescribable joy that it is for Barbara and me to have the privilege to have been able to minister to the Tugbanwa people. Last year, last January, just before COVID, I had the privilege of going into the Tugbanwa tribe. I usually would go 2, maybe 3 times a year, go back, would teach, would see how the staff and the leadership was doing. I had the privilege of going to a youth conference. This was the youth conference. They were expecting about 275 kids from a number of villages where we have churches. And about a week before, I get an instant message on Facebook from, he's actually the leader over our training center, and he goes, "Uncle, we really are in a bind. We have a lot of kids that want to come. All of the kids that were planning on coming are sharing with their friends at school and around their villages, and we've got all these kids that want to join us. And we don't have enough food. We don't have a place big enough to meet. And so I put the word out to a lot of our supporters. God raised up money. We were actually helped to buy 3 pigs to be able to feed that many people. And when I got there, there were 1,121 kids showed up. Over 400 of them were unbelievers. And by the end of the week, about 350, 360 of them trusted Christ. And they didn't just say, "Yes, Lord, yes, Jesus." I trust you. They went back to their villages with pastors who were also there with them, and now they have been discipled over this last year and a half because they went back into a context where they could be followed up and discipled. God is growing the Tugbanwa Church. That's what we want to see happen in all of the different ethnic groups around the world. We share this with you so that you'll maybe take on your heart to pray that God would bring this project to completion. And if the Lord puts it on your heart to share, be glad to share how you could do that. But if you would pray that God would help us in the development of finishing it. My team has actually developed how we want the app to work, and then we've had to pay an outside developer who's actually making it, and that's really where the cost is. I'm supported, and so there's no additional cost with me and my involvement in it because God's already taken care of my income. But it's the guys that we're paying to do this. But would you pray that God would be honored in using this to be able to help people learn culture and languages that have never been learned before and share the good news of His amazing work through Christ? Brother, I'll turn it back over to you. Oh, if you've got any questions, I'll maybe take a couple of minutes. Any questions of what I shared this morning or even right now about the app? I'd be glad to field any of those questions.
Raise your hand. I'll bring you the mic because we're recording this for others that couldn't be here today. Got a question? Y'all never do this. Come on. Any thoughts? Any questions? Anyone?
John's got one back there.
Oh, yeah.
So the missionary that's working on learning the culture and the language, and he's living in the tribe in order to do this. How does he communicate to this program, wherever it is in the cloud?
Okay. The way it's set up, most of our missionaries at this point, some of them do not have direct access. If you're on a team, I forgot to mention this. Have you ever heard of a Raspberry? It is a little device that's kind of like a mini server. And so if there are 3 families in a village, that server, everything that when you QR code it to your computer, as soon as you get connected to your little network, it will upload it to this Raspberry. That means that he can use my information, I can use his. Now, he can't alter mine, I can't alter his, but we have equal access to it so that we can learn and grow together. And then as soon as there is a connection, even a slow one, it'll trickle up to this server. And like for us in the Tugbanwa tribe, we can use our cell phones now to create actually a connection to the web, and through it we can upload information. There's some people who have satellites because they're out in the middle of nowhere. They have no connectivity whatsoever, and so they bring in and put a satellite up, and they actually, all these guys, we're from Florida, we follow all the rocket launches. We're really glad for all these satellites they're shooting up there because that just makes it that much more easier for us to be able to communicate. But yeah, that's how we would do it, is through that.
Makes that a great question. Thank you, brother. Yes, ma'am.
So what missionaries will this help? Do you have to be a part of a certain
Oh, my
missionary
goodness.
group?
Good question.
And how much does it cost for the app, to download the app?
Okay. The app will be on Apple, and it'll be on Google Play. App will be probably less than $50, and we will share it. Or the app you can pay for. Anybody can buy the app, but the program that goes in the computer that it syncs with, we only share that with people who are of like faith. So we don't want other religious sects that aren't biblically correct or true. We don't want them to benefit from it. And so the real benefit is when you marry the two together. We give that away, but we'll only give it to people that are of like faith. We already have Wycliffe. Wycliffe is so excited about this. We share technology all the time. They said that as soon as we get to actually we start phase 7, they're going to start writing a bridge that will help with translation. This kind of does a little bit to help with translation, but they're writing one that's going to take this and bring it into a program called Flex, which helps them analyze translation material. And so we're in partnership with them and a number of other IMB. I've actually given a presentation to the director of IMB that oversees all their training and in their culture and language acquisition too. So we're sharing it. We want everybody to benefit from it. We'll never get the money back. That's never been our desire. The $50, it may even be 35, but whatever that is just to help us maintain the technology.
Great question.
Once fully funded, how soon will that be available to the missionaries?
Lord willing, if we're able to travel in January or February, we will actually go to some very key spots in the world, and it will not only be for our mission, but also for IMB and for other organizations. They can join us in Chiang Mai, Thailand. We'll bring consultants and field leaders who actually will teach people that are on the field. You got people out there now that are not familiar with this, that are just started or in their first couple of years of language and culture acquisition. They will, their consultants will learn how to handle it, how to use it. A lot of it is it's all built into the program so that, but they'll go back into all the different countries and they'll teach their consultants on the ground there how to do it. But Lord willing, after the first of the year, we'll start. We're actually kind of getting a trial run in October because we're beginning to do a curriculum that's teaching these national pastors and evangelists that are in restricted countries. We've got a program that we're in our second year now, and this is going to become part of the curriculum.
Wonderful.
That's
question.
good.
No, that's good.
How many different languages, like are you just starting with a few languages, or I mean, how many languages will this translate?
It's written in English, and then we have another mission organization. We presented it to them, asked if they could help us build this, and they said, financially we can't help you, but we are working in 109 languages around the world, and we've got teams that could translate the app into those languages. So we've got, they're willing to cover that. They're going to translate it into Indonesian, into Vietnamese, into Mandarin, and to Hindi and Bengali. They've got people working all over the place, and they're willing to put the app into those languages so that it immediately will be able to be used by them.
Great questions. Someone else? Another question? Y'all not that easy. Anyone else?
Those are great questions, though. Man,
absolutely.
All of those things I had actually written in here, and I didn't cover them.
I moved over here for this side. Anybody? Anything you want to say? I want to thank the Lord for what He's brought us and shared with us this morning. Very interesting.
My privilege.
We're not going to run away, so if you do have something more personal you want to ask him, Jody will certainly answer that. And we're just going to have lunch and spend some time before this evening at 5:30. He's going to be sharing with the children. We're having a missionary each night during our this week from 7 to 7:20 for the adults. Jody's going to be sharing with the children since he didn't get to do that. So he's got some stuff to do with the kids tonight. So be excited and encouraging for them as well. Thought of anything else? You still ask. Well, we've had some special prayer over him already. We've done that at our home last night with some friends. And we're going to close now with prayer and dismiss for the afternoon. Be back at 5:30. Many workers have to be here a lot earlier than that. You know what those needs are. If you didn't sign up or you didn't know anything about this, come be a part of it at 5:30 today. It's for children all the way up through JW's age. No, I was looking for the right one to pick on. Wow. Patrick, come here, brother. How about come and close us in prayer? We know Patrick. Jody hadn't actually met Patrick. Patrick is a missionary pastor from long ago, been here with us in Noxubee County almost 5 years. Yeah, real soon to be a 5-year anniversary. And Jeff's not here. He's out at Salem right now. And so Patrick joined us this morning, and I just ask you to close us in prayer this morning, brother.
Well, Father, I do just thank you for this word that's been shared today. I thank you, Lord, for the challenge that we each have, the responsibility we have to support our missionaries on the field, especially lifting up those overseas who are cut off from their home culture but are learning a new one. Father, I can see how this app would have impacted and helped our work overseas. And I do ask, Lord, that you just meet the financial needs, and Lord, that you just raise up those to spiritually support this work. Lord, just help open up eyes as far as how this can impact the rest of the world. I know, Lord, that people need your scriptures. They need your truth. Father, I pray that you would just raise up people out of this congregation who would have a passion to give their life to missions for full-time service, Lord. There are so many needy places, whether it's here in Macon or whether it's the deepest, darkest bush of Nigeria. Father, I just pray that you would stir some of the youth here towards missions. Father, just strengthen each of us today. Help us to stand firm in your word. Help us to hold to your promises. And Lord, help us to know how to fully worship you with our heart. In your Son's holy and precious name I pray. In the name of Jesus.